Okay, hang on a second. We are Wednesday night, just got back from a walk with the rest of the planning and zoning meeting.
Yeah, so you've got a couple different things, right? Let's just talk about the different tiers that you've got. You've got some immediate maintenance items that you can act upon, right? I.e. the ponds, right? If you want to put money in the budget for plantings, maintenance, bush hogging, whatever it needs to be, there are things that you can, when we look at the overall map, right, we can identify which of those you can act on in a short term, because you have to start sooner than later, because with plantings, it's a budget and phasing and issue, right, as we all know. So it's going to take a few years anyways to get things planned out. You're going to then be able to identify controversial and non-controversial items, right? So Sledding Hill might be more controversial than you imagine because it backs up someone. You're definitely going to get some feedback on that, right? You may get a lot of. I'm going to leave the policy decision on the reserves in a minute because that's a whole separate thing, I think, from a discussion standpoint. You're going to have items where you might be surprised. I'm always surprised in how things go. Well, I should say it both ways. I'm surprised and not surprised. Where you want to take down, and I think it's perfectly legitimate idea, where you want to mow out an area down there between phase 3 and phase 6, essentially down there, phase 5, which is down inside the alleyway, right? Where you want to make it a flat area. That takes a little bit longer because it's got to be engineered just like the Sledding Hill. And those are the kind of more earth-moving items that may be controversial in some way. They definitely involve more money, they definitely involve more time, they definitely involve a change to the current scenery that people are used to down there. But the simpler things, where you mow, where you don't mow, right? Those are pretty easy to determine.
Well, and should that kind of thing be up to the residents to say, no, you shouldn't mow like that?
Not necessarily.
I mean, if it's a maintenance thing.
Not necessarily. You can start, here's what I will tell you, is that again, we have things that can act on sooner than later, and things that need to be acted on sooner than later, right? With the lakes and the ponds and the plantings and the trees. And those are all budget items right for the budget now, right? As you could say, I want to add 10 grand in a year because we're going to use it for the aqua plants and 10 grand in for the trees as an example, right? Because we're going to plant trees this year. Okay, great. And then you identify where you've got more long-term engineering discussion, because that's not only going to be a discussion with the public, that's going to be a discussion of council, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot more discussion in that regard. But items of maintenance are more administrative in nature once the budget's approved typically on these items, right? It's administered by the mayor, and then if there's a maintenance department, or there's not, right? Because that's a council decision on how they want to hire people and not hire people. But part of what you decide to do from a mowing standpoint and not mowing standpoint does affect those decisions, because if you decide, or if you recommend and council accepts, you've done less mowing, and then that affects how they plan out. Maybe it's just bush hogging twice a year, maybe it's just hiring a contractor for that, I don't know. But those are the items that, like you said, the low-hanging fruit that you can decide on now and you can act on within the budget. And then you've got the larger items for recommendation of the multi-years, which are the larger capital investment, and that's just how it goes. So we put it on the map and we can identify those, right?
So I would propose we, look at this map and try and put things in one of 3 buckets, and those be no-brainers, stuff we agree on but don't know how to do, and stuff we don't agree on. If we were to get everything in agreement and present it to council, the price tag attached to that would make it a non-starter, right? So let's grab those no-brainers. Like, I think, and again, we don't know what they are until we all agree with them, but, around that first corner we did, where there was that little horseshoe, we talked about mowing that and putting a picnic table. I don't know that we need to go to the community for that. Nobody's using that for anything else. I think we're all in agreement that we're okay with that. We might not love it, but we're okay with that.
That's fine.
And so now we're looking at, I think you've already basically been given the authority to buy some picnic tables. Now we're looking at a maintenance issue. That to me is a no-brainer. That's done and basically free
Before you go on, does that have to be approved by council, or can we just say?
I wouldn't think
Say,
so.
let's start mowing and buy a picnic table.
I think that's her.
The picnic tables, yes, right? So she has the authority to do this.
Okay.
Now, whether or not we need to wait until we technically take over the land over there, I'm sure if we asked him why, they probably don't care if we do that, or if we just told him to mow it next week.
Officially get the.
You'll start, it'll be
Next couple
November, November-ish, because we have to go through our meetings, all right, which will start coming up here, and 3 readings, so you end on November, and then technically 30-day period, technically speaking, that may not even apply in this case. So it'll either be the earliest second week of November or second week of December at the latest, one of those two. It'll be year
Just-
2020.
Just an FYI for you, don't forget, we only have one meeting in November, I think, and I
I know, but it's the
wrong.
first meeting. So we
Okay.
should be okay.
Okay,
Yeah, so if you've got 2 meetings in October.
we
We'll
do.
have 2 meetings in October.
Oh, so we'll have it, you'll have to back
You're
by
gonna have
Thursday.
it here coming up for the discussion.
Beautiful,
on-
that's what I didn't know.
Yep.
Yep, then we're fine.
So, I mean, the other thing is, you know, in the winter, we probably can't cut this down and install a picnic table. Maybe we could, but
It depends on how nice our winters
Yeah.
get sometimes.
Well, and that's just it, yeah, I mean, do we
But-
just know that we're gonna put a picnic table out there and here's the other thing, if we just get a wooden one, you're correct, I would rather just wait until April or May, knowing that it's gonna be put out in.
but I think the thing is, we need to make sure it's approved and ready to go. We need, you know,
Yeah,
we
so
want something to happen.
We tick the boxes so that we can actually do something instead of looking at this whole project like we did. you
All
know,
over
with
again.
Green space planning since, you know, Eddie and I have been here, where it's like, we don't know what that means, let's push it to the next meeting. Now we're getting into it, so let's find the projects that we can tick off, and like Sledding Hill, I think we're not all totally on board, but we definitely don't know how to do it. So it's kind of in a bucket of, let's find out more about this, but there's no reason we should put everything on hold while we find out more about it. Issues of what gets mowed and what doesn't get mowed, those are going to take, you know, more time, but why would we let something that we all think is a good idea have to wait? So that again, we can present a budget that's so big that everybody says we're not even gonna touch this.
And it sounds like we've pretty much agreed on all of the ponds too, from when we walked around. I mean, I didn't hear anyone say no to the things that we talked about.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily know how to do those.
Exactly.
So, right, so those go in that bucket, so.
On that subject, I am sort of in conversation with somebody about we had talked about doing the Little Lake,
Mhm.
to work towards that, so plans, I'm working towards that. So hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have something to
I
present.
found mine.
'Cause we've got-
What was her name, Rachel? Who did the link? I finally found my plan. I mean, it's a very detailed plan, except it doesn't specifically say what plans.
No, but I talked to her and she's given me names of people I can contact. Well, first of all, I have talked to somebody about plans, how Eric was talking about water plants and not so much water plants and that, so I have an idea of what plants we could put in, but she also gave me names of people to talk to. I mean, if we wanna get into spending money, who would know what to do.
And I
So-
do believe we have some that we can start sooner rather than later.
Have some,
Money,
what?
from money that's already in there that we just haven't used so far this year. And again, and we were talking about that earlier, as long as it's already been budgeted and it's not over $3,000, we don't have to go through council.
Okay.
Is this getting into a planning season like fall right now, isn't it?
Time plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends.
On what it
You know,
is.
for this kind of stuff, like shrubs, you could do trees, but perennials, it might be a little too late. We're,
Agreed.
by the time we would get to that point, it might be too late.
Mhm.
Depends on the temperature. The other thing I'm gonna say is I'm also looking at the plants by the basketball court, just,
Okay.
I should have that next time too, some kind of idea,
Okay.
what I'm thinking.
And same thing, if it's something that we can do this year, I'm all for trying to get that done this year, but if it's too late, then.
Well, I feel like that's trees, shrubs, I think probably that should be, as long as the ground's not frozen, it should be doable this year.
So for the amphitheater, we would wait until we were awarded the grant money to move forward with that, or how would that work?
Well, you can always conceptualize what you want to do there, right? There's nothing wrong with being able to take an aerial, blow it up, and draw on there some different ideas about what you want to do to brainstorm, right?
If we're counting on the capital funds,
Yeah.
if that's the only shot we've got right now, then we will know by law, we'll know by December 31st if it's gonna happen
So it'll be good.
anytime in the near future.
Yeah.
And so to do anything between now and realistically Christmas, I think would probably just be a waste of time.
Yeah, because when does that money become available? January 1 or when do they issue it out on the state? budget year?
This year is unlike any other year.
Yeah.
It should have been done by July 1st.
Okay,
If they do it, it's gonna be really quick, really fast. It is a budget bill, so there's no delay in effective date, so in theory, as soon as it's passed, the process starts.
Okay.
And then they have to issue the bonds, get the funds. I mean, once you're through if we're efficient in going through the process, once we're through it would be spring into summer, by the time the funds are actually out. But
The award letter would go out earlier, we would know.
yes, the
You'd be
award,
able to
the award
plan.
letter would go out in
Gotcha.
January, and then we could
Okay.
request reimbursement if we wanted to start spending.
Correct. We could easily engage an architect engineer at that
Yes.
time and get things planned out, get reimbursement for soft costs.
Right.
Like that would get us to the point where we could
Well,
do stuff in the summer when we got money.
yes, we would need to be
After we got.
paying close attention to the letter of the law, because
Yes.
those funds are for bricks and mortar projects.
Yes.
And so some of the soft costs
Well,
cannot be
but
covered.
that would be the in-kind side of it.
Right.
So either way.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a bridge to cross, but frankly, we'll,
So, yeah, we wait for the letter.
yeah, probably not worth starting before the end of the year, because if it doesn't happen, we'll end up holding it back.
And then regardless, you would know, obviously, if you got money, how much money, what you did. I think no matter what, you need to, if you want to keep that thing at least in some semblance of how it looks right now, you don't want to let it go total pot, because that'll end up happening with winter and, and different changes in the season over the years. You want to find a way to allot some type of money to it to clean it up and maintain it minimally.
It could be as little as, do you wanna take the trees down,
Exactly.
tidy it up, do you or don't you?
Yeah, at least the trees that are growing through the stage.
Yeah, some of those you want to clear up. The one large tree that's out front there that you can clearly see needs to be dead wooded up top, because those large branches can fall and cause further damage, if they hit something the wrong way, so. But, many things.
I guess I also would say that this grant that you sent me the information on, we usually get it for the community garden, but it sounds like it could also work for beautification. So is it okay if I go for that, apply, or attempt?
Yeah,
Okay, I may need some help in, Jen Pocket helps me with the community garden, and she's perfect for how she words things, just the right amount of BS, she says.
pretty good at that.
I'm not great at that.
Oh,
So,
yeah, well,
okay,
we'll
so-
teach you. Sorry, wait, we're on a recording, come on.
Well, it's not that it's
You gotta have the right amount of fluff.
false, or not true.
Exactly, you just, yeah,
Yeah, she knows how to word things.
First week's of early.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I'll work on that too. I think that's July or October 31st, does that sound right?
yeah. Yeah, I know it's not far away,
Yeah,
so again, just let me know.
okay.
Okay, so the action item is that you'll put together a map with
Yes.
the things that were discussed,
Yes.
and then at the next meeting, we can start trying to put things into buckets with the hope that we'll at least have one or two things we're all in agreement on at the next meeting.
Yep.
Well, I know we're in agreement on the one, so check that off your list, because getting the picnic table and cutting is not gonna be an issue.
Cool.
And I think it's a great place for that. And then for the time being, if we haven't made any decisions, if we don't have anything on the amphitheater area, that would be a prime pick for just another picnic table for right now.
We've done a lot more.
What I'm hoping to get out of this is the map of, because we know the amphitheater's going there, it ain't going anywhere else.
Right,
And then just going around to the different areas. For me, that would be the most amazing thing, if we can actually have a plan, and say, this is what we
right.
would like
This-
to do in all these different areas.
I know it's gonna cost a little bit, and I'm sure we have printing money, but is there a way, and I know we've seen them before and we've had them before, but get another decent size, and I know, like, you had the basketball court area,
Yeah.
those maps that we were like moving little things around, but an actual map of like all of that general, I don't remember how we got it or what we did, but
Well,
is,
when I had them printed.
10 minutes.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
is there
we
something you can do,
yeah.
larger ones that when
Yeah,
we
we
come
can
in
get
here?
everyone, so we come, a couple few different sizes for printing. Obviously, everyone's familiar with 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, no, we don't
The
want
next
that.
one's 11 by
No,
17.
I want bigger.
The next size up is roughly, the standard print is a little less than a 2 by 3 foot, but it's.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's about this
Yes.
big, and it's nice enough where you can get a nice large.
That's what I
area
want.
front.
I
We
want
can
something
get
that we
you
can see. I don't want something where I'm like, is this A?
We can do that.
Yes,
We'll do
so maybe for the next meeting, and then just tell Becky what you need for, or Leah, for a PO or whatever you need to get it
Won't be a
printed.
problem. I just take it, last time I did, I took my little drive to Staples and pay for it, and then they just reimburse me.
Do whatever you gotta do.
No big
That would
deal.
be awesome to get a couple of those.
Could we get it like, just like at least one of them laminated so we can draw on it with like a dry erase marker?
You
That might be a good idea.
Potentially could do that, yes.
We could like try and
It's
figure
not a
it
bad
out.
idea.
That would be helpful.
For multiple projects.
Yeah, spend the big bucks and get a.
Yeah, instead of spending 6, spend 12.
We can do that.
Check with Leah and make sure we have it in the budget first.
Yeah. So, it's not a problem. Okay, sounds good. Appreciate it, guys. It's a good meeting. So, if there's nothing else, we're about at 8.
Move to
Are
adjourn.
you corresponding with Donna?
Um,
All right, meeting's adjourned.
I don't know.